Hey y'all, I'm Tracy. Welcome back to Just Dig It Farms. Today's video is in collaboration with the Homesteaders of America Garden Tour. I am so happy and humbled to be a part of this awesome group of homesteaders and gardeners and farmers and YouTube creators. This is just a great group of gardeners and farmers and homesteaders all across America sharing their gardens with you. What they're growing, how they're growing it, what's working, what's not working. And every time I watch one of these videos, I just come away with a nugget of information and knowledge, inspiration, or encouragement. And that's my hope for you today as I share my garden with you. I hope that you gain some useful information, and I hope that you're inspired to grow your own healthy food this fall and winter. Welcome to my potager garden. We've been working the past few weeks on cleaning up the summer garden really good, pulling out everything that was dead and diseased and finished, just pulling it all out. We've been adding compost from the chicken coop and some fresh mulch hay out here. And I've been planting my fall and winter garden seeds and plants. We cleaned out the chicken coop already, and now Trace is working in the chicken run, and all of this good soil has just been building up over the past couple of years. We've never taken it from the chicken run before. And this is where we always just throw all the scraps in here and kitchen table scraps and everything like that. And the chickens just eat it and turn it all into good compost in here. This is my first bed. These zinnias are looking so pretty. My basil's just doing awesome. I leave this one for the pollinators. I let it just go to flower for all the pollinators, which they're loving it.
Hey. I just got back from doing some scouting and found this floating off the Alabama River.
Oh, cool.
It still got the lid on it. I can't.
Neat.
Pretty cool.
That is neat.
Yeah.
I love old bottles.
Had to clean out your truck.
Yeah. Thanks. Usually at this point of the year, I would have already had all my tomatoes ripped out of here and something else going. But a lot of these tomatoes just started producing new tomatoes again, so I wanted to leave them and try to get tomatoes as long as I can. I pruned out as much of the dead and diseased as I could, got rid of all the ones that were completely dead and finished, and just held on to some of these that were still making tomatoes for me. These little sun golds and cherry tomatoes and Juliet Romas are just kicking in gear. They're doing awesome. So we've been able to eat off of these tomatoes all summer. And we're going into fall still eating on them. See how pretty they are? There was no way I could rip these out. Cleaned them up the best I could, and I'm still holding on to them. But my marigolds are looking pretty. My herb garden here is looking good. And this is my basil. I'm just gonna hang on to it as long as I can. I love the smell of it. I love walking out here. You can just smell the basil. But over here, I've put in my rutabagas. You can see them right there. I had sowed some rutabaga seed here in these rows and it never come up. So these are the rutabagas that I grew from seed over at my garden shed. And I just put these transplants in the ground. They're doing pretty good. But right here, I've got evidence of something coming up here and digging up some of my little baby rutabagas. All right there. They dug them up. And over here I see, right there. This is where I have my arugula planted. In this little area. And I see some tiny little arugulas coming up. And now something's trying to root them all up. And this is more rutabagas all along that row. I sure hope nothing gets them. My herb garden's doing pretty good. That's a eucalyptus. This is a damask rose. That is clary sage. Got echinacea all in here, coneflowers. This rose is Hansa. These roses I'm growing from rose hips. All the roses in this whole bed here are for rose hips for medicinal use. There's my lemongrass. I love adding grasses to the garden. They just add so much texture and movement. There's my anise hyssop for tea. And there is pineapple sage for tea. And the hummingbirds and butterflies love this pineapple sage. Here's some horehound. There's a little coneflower starting to bloom. The medicinal garden here, we just added this spring. So this is all new. So I've got a lot of spaces to fill. But I've got a lot of herbs that I want to use. More lemongrass, lemon balm, or Melissa, which is awesome to use medicinally. That was my mullein plant. It finished up, but it'll come back. I'm hoping it multiplies this year and I have a lot more of it. This is marshmallow. I've got some fennel back here that the caterpillars have stripped. My second bed over here, and we're still picking okra. We've still got a lot of okra to pick. I succession planted it, so when one row is finishing up, the next row's been starting, so we've had okra for a long time. I need to get out here and pick some of it. So what I did right here is in between the rows of okra, I did like little trenches here, and I sowed my carrot seed there, right there, and over there. I sowed carrots and radish seed together. They're good companions. So I've been trying to keep that really moist. I'm hoping that this tall okra is kind of shading it out a little bit, and I hope that they germinate because I'm really out of time to re-sow, so I really hope that they germinate because we like a lot of fresh carrots. The peppers are still going gangbusters. This one right here is so pretty. We don't really even eat hot peppers, but look how beautiful that is. So pretty. still getting bell peppers. I see a lot in there I need to pick. My rosemary. I've got herbs just incorporated all in my beds and in my garden all over the place because herbs are just great pest confusers. They really help confuse the pest. Here's a butterfly enjoying my coneflowers. This is bed number 3. All my beautiful zinnias and butterflies. Black-eyed Susan vines. In this bed, we got it cleaned out. It was sweet potatoes and peas. And some of the peas are trying to come back up because I like to just cut it off at the base of the pea and leave it in the ground. Peas are just great nitrogen builders. And what's left down in the ground will just rot, so I usually try to leave it. But these are coming back. I've got sweet potatoes in there trying to come out, so I see where I need to go dig out more sweet potatoes. But in here, I've got rows of collards. You can see these collards right here. I grew these from seed as well and then transplanted them over here. And then that is turnips. And I just direct sowed those turnips. That champ runs through and tears up. I've got some sweet peas planted on my trellises there. So this bed is turnips and collards. This is bed 4 over here. And I haven't got anything in the ground yet over here. I put peas on these trellises too, and they're coming up. I see them coming up. And up there. There's some baby peas coming up. This is that crazy weird okra, and it fell over. I guess the wind knocked it over, but I'm trying to save some of these wild seed pods so I can have seeds for next year because it really was good okra. It's just funky. And I've got this one little lonely sunflower decided to come up. So I'm in the middle of all this planting. So these plants over here are what's going to go in this bed. And this is my brassicas and cruciferous vegetables that are going to go all in this bed. I've got some broccoli, cauliflower, more broccoli, and my Brussels sprouts didn't germinate very well, so I went and bought some, and they got hot and wilted up out here. I watered them. I hope they pull through. Bed over here, I've been working on planting it. And on my trellis there, I planted some more little sweet peas, sugar pod sweet peas, and they're coming up. Let me see. They're starting to come up. And in this bed, I've got cabbages, all different kinds of cabbages, purple, Copenhagen, all different kinds of cabbages in this bed here, and some Chinese cabbages, pak choy, bok choy. And then on these rows in between the cabbages here is my kale. There's some sweet potatoes coming up. I keep digging up more and more sweet potatoes. But I've sown kale in here, and I see some kale coming up. I see some little baby kales in there starting to pop up. Cabbage and kales are good companion plants. And this bed is more okra. And I've let a good many of them get really big. I'm saving the seed on these, but there's a lot in here I could still harvest. So okra just keeps going and keeps going. But in this bed for fall and winter, I'm gonna be doing my garlic. I'm gonna plant a lot of garlic. So thinking ahead, in this bed, I'm gonna be putting my garlic in here real soon, my garlic bulbs. And when it comes spring again and it's time to plant my summer garden, the garlic is not gonna be ready yet to harvest. It's still gonna have a good while to harvest. So in my rotation plan, this bed next spring will get my tomatoes, because the tomatoes, the garlic, and the onion are all great companion plants together. So these 3 beds here, that one and those 2, all have my sun hemp, my cover crop. And Chase chopped all that down for me. This bed here, the sun hemp, was probably 10-12 feet tall. And he chopped all that in half for me, and we just dropped it back into the bed. Sun hemp will just keep growing and just keep going until the first frost. And when the first frost comes, it'll completely kill it out. So until then, we're just going to keep chopping it and dropping it into place. And then when the frost kills it out, we're going to come back, chop it all down. I'm gonna add some compost from the chicken coop. And then we're gonna put cardboard and mulch hay on top of that, because I'm trying to really suppress out as many of these weeds as I can and kill out these weeds, because I don't want these beds to be so weedy come spring and summer when I start planting. And then hopefully by summertime next season, these beds are gonna be awesome. And these are my grapes on my arbor, and they're doing good. They're growing really good. They're almost about to meet in the middle. I want to show you guys our sweet potatoes that we harvested a few weeks ago. We got a lot of sweet potatoes this year. Look at all these. We got a lot of them. Big ones. I had them in my garden shed here just curing, so they've been here probably about 2 weeks. So now I've got to find somewhere to store them all. I don't have a root cellar yet, so we're kind of figuring out what to do with all these. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the beginning of the fall and winter garden. Y'all go check out Amy Fuel's channel, Homesteaders of America. Go to her description and scroll down, and you'll see a list of all the different homesteaders that have videos in this collaboration. Y'all go over and check them out and watch them. He's a lap goat. He's a lap goat. Hey, boy. Call him, Chase.
Bo, shoot your phone.
Oh.